Good morning, and welcome back to True Line Global, where we break down the biggest stories in global affairs, current events, and American politics. No spin, just the facts. I'm your host, and today, we're diving into a conversation that sent shockwaves through conservative circles and beyond. On October 28, 2025, former Fox News star Tucker Carlson sat down for a 2-hour interview with Nick Fuentes, the far-right activist known for his white nationalist views. What started as a discussion on foreign policy quickly escalated into pointed critiques of Israel, Jewish influence in conservatism, and something Carlson called the brain virus of Christian Zionism. The fallout, swift and fierce, with U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee firing back publicly. Stick around as we unpack who Fuentes is, what was said, and why this matters for the Republican Party heading into 2026. Let's get into it. First, a quick primer on Nick Fuentes, because context is everything in these stories. Born in 1998 in suburban Chicago to a family of Mexican descent, Fuentes rose to prominence as a teenager through conservative media. He gained national attention in 2017 for attending the white supremacist Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. By 2019, he'd launched his America First podcast and live streams, building a following among young, online conservatives disillusioned with mainstream GOP figures. Fuentes has openly identified as a white nationalist, denied the Holocaust scale, and promoted ideas like race realism and opposition to immigration. He's been banned from platforms like YouTube, Twitter, now X, and even dined with former President Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago in 2022, sparking widespread condemnation. Despite, or perhaps because of, these controversies, Fuentes has positioned himself as a leader in a fringe movement aiming to pull the Republican Party further right, often clashing with establishment conservatives over issues like Israel support and foreign aid. His rhetoric frequently touches on anti-Semitic tropes, including claims of Jewish conspiracies in media and politics. Enter Tucker Carlson. The ex-Fox host, now running his independent Tucker Carlson network, has built a massive audience, over 10 million followers across platforms, by challenging what he sees as elite overreach. In recent months, Carlson's critiques of U.S. foreign policy have sharpened, particularly on Israel and Ukraine. He's hosted guests like historian Darryl Cooper, who sparked outrage by calling Winston Churchill the chief villain of World War II. So, when Carlson invited Fuentes for this interview, it wasn't entirely out of left field, but it was explosive. The conversation, titled simply, Tucker Carlson Interviews Nick Fuentes, dropped on October 28 and racked up millions of views almost immediately. Clocking in at over 2 hours, it covered Fuentes' origins, his break from early heroes like Ben Shapiro, and a deep dive into conservatism's fault lines. But the real heat came on Israel and what both men framed as undue Jewish influence in American politics. Fuentes didn't hold back. He argued that neoconservatism, the hawkish foreign policy strain dominant in the GOP for decades, stems directly from Jewish leftists after the 1973 Yom Kippur War. As far as the Jews are concerned, Fuentes said, you cannot actually divorce Israel and the neocons from Jewishness, ethnicity, religion, identity. He described Jews as a stateless people who resist assimilation for thousands of years, and called for taking down these Zionist Jews in the conservative movement. Fuentes even shared his personal arc. As a high schooler, he admired Shapiro, Mark Levin, and Dennis Prager, but soured when they dismissed his questions about U.S. aid to Israel as anti-Semitic. Carlson, for his part, pushed back gently on overt anti-Semitism, at one point saying, I'm not that interested in the Jews, but I am very interested in the foreign policy question. He agreed the U.S.-Israel relationship is insane and yields nothing for America, echoing his past segments on Gaza and U.S. meddling. But the line that's drawing the most fire, Carlson's takedown of Christian Zionism, the belief among many evangelicals that supporting Israel fulfills biblical prophecy. How do you explain Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, who I have seen be seized by this brain virus? Carlson asked. And they're not Jewish. Most of them are self-described Christians. And they're Christian Zionists. I dislike them more than anybody because it's Christian heresy and I'm offended by that as a Christian. That brain virus jab hit a nerve, especially with Mike Huckabee, Trump's appointee as U.S. Ambassador to Israel and a longtime evangelical leader. Huckabee, a former Arkansas governor and Fox News contributor who once co-hosted with Carlson, responded on X the next day. Wasn't aware that Tucker despises me, he wrote. I do get that a lot from people not familiar with the Bible or history. Somehow, I will survive the animosity. Senator Ted Cruz jumped in to defend him. Mike Huckabee is a pastor and a patriot who loves America, loves Israel, and loves Jesus. I'm proud to be in his company. Huckabee replied with a light touch, thanks at Ted Cruz for the nice words. You sure treat me better than Tucker and Fuentes. May the icing on your cake be piled high. The backlash spread fast. Conservative commentators like Dinesh D'Souza questioned Carlson's mindset, posting a clip and asking what it says about the host. Ben Shapiro and others from the Daily Wire, which Fuentes has long targeted, called it a dishonor to figures like the late Charlie Kirk. On X, reactions ranged from horror, dishonest, evil, one user wrote, to support, with Fuentes fans hailing it as a win for America First. Groups like Stop Antisemitism demanded Carlson's blacklisting from GOP events. Even Fuentes admitted pre-interview paranoia, joking he feared a bomb on my plane, thinking Carlson might be CIA. So, what's the bigger picture here? This isn't just a podcast spat, it's a symptom of deepening rifts in the American right. On one side, the Israel First crowd, evangelicals, neocons, and Trump allies like Huckabee, see unwavering U.S. support for Israel as a moral and strategic imperative. On the other, an ascendant isolationist wing, amplified by Carlson and Fuentes, argues it's a drain that entangles America in endless wars. Fuentes' growing clout, he's been called the face of a Republican civil war over these issues, highlights how anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist voices are testing the boundaries of MAGA tolerance. With midterms looming, expect this fault line to widen, especially as figures like Candace Owens and Jake Shields echo similar critiques. That's the latest on this unfolding story. We'll keep tracking reactions from Trump world and beyond. What do you think this means for conservatism's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if you found this breakdown helpful, and subscribe for more unbiased deep dives into the news that shapes our world. Thanks for watching True Line Global. Stay informed, stay engaged. Good day.